Hey, what's happening, guys? It's been a little while since I've done a video. This is on a FLU-419. I wanted to share my heartache with you in the hopes that it could save you time and grief. The problem with this FLU-419 is it will not charge. It just won't charge at all. So I went inside the vehicle. I checked the master power switch. Nothing going on there. Pretty much you got to jump the vehicle every time and she'll stay running. So I finally found the problem, and I wanted to share that with you. It is a Bosch, in my case, 0332002256. And if I can get this apart here for you, give me just a moment here. Let me set the phone down. So take this guy apart. I don't know if you can see it, but I energized this with 24 volts and got absolutely nothing, no kerchunk or anything. Contacts in here, completely clean, so that's not the issue. Your positive terminals, one comes from the battery and goes here, one comes from the alternator and goes right here. Inside the vehicle, it energizes this with 24 volts. Your horizontal plug here is positive. This one right here is negative. Wired this directly to the battery, nothing. Popped the cover on it, didn't see anything initially, but when I looked right down in here behind this soldering part, there's a little tongue that sticks off down there. You can kind of see it broken. It had actually melted completely through that. So obviously if I test it from here to here, I was getting no ohms or resistance across the coil. I wasn't getting any short. This diode tested good, this diode tested good. So for whatever reason, down there at that coil, it heated up so much they had it wrapped around that little tongue. It heated up and just burnt completely in half. So I found another relay here locally in southern Ohio at a place called J&N Automotive, $57 for a relay. I was like, whoa! Anyway, this relay is located directly beneath the alternator. This is replacing the relay under the alternator, the FLU-419. This right here is the new relay. Let me move the phone down in here. And this bottom connector, this beige connector beneath my finger, plugs into the bottom of the relay. This wire right here, I believe that goes directly to the battery. That goes right here. And I believe this goes to the alternator. That goes right there. When replacing the relay, do not bolt the relay down. The first thing you want to do is connect the beige connector to the back. Then on this wire, very carefully hold this nut in your hand, thread it through the wire, and then into the relay on this post. Then on this one, repeat the same process. Note that this lug is a lot lower, and then go ahead and hand tighten that one. Once you get them hand tightened, then you can go ahead and use a screwdriver and then bolt this down here. I put a zip tie right here when I took this apart to indicate which one is my right one. Be very, very careful that you don't drop anything. Be absolutely committed as you hold these on, because if you drop it, you'll probably never find it. Another reason for not tightening the relay to the bracket first is getting your standard size screwdriver in here to these is very difficult. Plus you don't want to mess up your wiring and the angle's a little off. So make sure you do not attach this relay first. Once everything's in there, go ahead and push your relay in. And then you have to hand start these guys as well. And once you go ahead and get those, then you can get a 10 millimeter in there and go ahead and tighten those down the rest of the way. And that will complete the relay replacement on the FLU-419. And then I'll also cover the alternator replacement here. Okay, this is the alternator wiring for the FLU-419. As you can see there, I've got the, I'm going to try and use a screwdriver to point to these. Here is, this guy right here is the shielding for your, I think it's the B+. That's your large heavy-duty wire. There's another smaller wire which also goes on this. It looks like it's wire number 141 right down there. That goes in conjunction with your large wire on your largest nut on your alternator. The other thing to note here, there's not a lot of room to move around. So as you connect this guy and this guy, tighten these before you move to the next one, which is going to be your next boot, the small boot. Because as you make all these connections, your alternator, you're slowly going to run out of room, so your alternator is going to keep getting further and further in. So if you just connect them all loose, you're not going to be able to get back down there. So be sure to tighten these as you go. The sequence is bottom right-hand corner, large B plus, then your boot, then these guys up here. So just work your way from the bottom right to the top left. Okay, so your next set of wires is going to be this top terminal right here. It's a very, very tight fit. And then once you get these in, then this black wire right here is going to go right here, and then your braid over on my far left. So actually you're moving from the bottom right to the top left. So you're going to go big boot, little boot, top right, and then top left. All right, guys. So once you get this top one right here at about 12 o'clock, the next thing you need to do is put this metal bracket back on this stud over here, and then put your nut on. And then we're going to go ahead and complete this side. Okay, this bracket back here on the top right-hand corner of the alternator, this guy right here, you can't see or get back here, so you have to thread that number 8 nut on blindly. So you got to wedge a number 8 back there. I highly, highly, highly recommend going to Ace Hardware, your local hardware store, get some stainless steel, take the whole alternator up there with you, and get extra nuts for everything you're working on. I think extra nuts cost me $3. It's well worth it, because if you drop one, you're out of luck. So I highly recommend you get extra nuts before you take on this task. On this top left one right here, your instinct is just to put it on the shaft and go ahead and tighten it down. But if you do that, every time you tighten it, this bracket is going to push against this capacitor. So be sure to wedge your finger back here between the wiring connector and the capacitor, so you're not putting undue stress on that capacitor, because it's plastic and too much stress on it plus the vibration of the engine might crack it and allow water to get in there. So be sure you put a spacer between here. Make sure you don't over tighten it. So anyway, that completes the wiring on the alternator. Now we're going to go ahead and get her tightened back in here and get the belt on. Now, I'm not sure how your FLU-419 is, but I put new belts on this. They're a little tighter than probably what's called for. And by the way, the belt number I have on this alternator, I got these from Napa. It's a 25. It's like a 9570. Focus on that, if it will focus. Anyway, yeah, 259570. So with this belt, when you put it back on the alternator, do not put your bolts in yet, because it's a pretty tight squeeze. So be sure to get your belt on there first before you start messing around with the bolts. Alrighty, guys, got the alternator installed. Woo! Had a jumper to get her started. Let's run around here and see what she's got. Oh, looky there, looky there. Oh, ain't that party? Woo! Yeah, doggy. Ain't that party? Now let's see what she's got at a complete idle. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Yeah. All right. So, gonna put this guy back together. Put the tools away. And take her for a test drive and see what she does. Anyway, guys, I hope my pain and turmoil with the alternator here on this FLU-419 somehow saves you some grief and heartache. All right. All righty, guys. Peace.